Welcome back. We are going through the book of Revelation and trying to answer this question of, is the key to the deep the same key as Gehenna, or translated as Sheol sometimes? Are all these the same place? It says that the dragon gets put in the deep for 1,000 years, but then he gets put in Sheol, where the beast and the false prophet are. So are these different places? And then it also leads us to the question of, if this beast is currently in the deep, and this is only for the devil and his angels, if it's like Tartarus, then why is he here now and later he gets put into Sheol? Um, and is this different than like Gehenna, where other people are placed? So we're trying to put these pieces together, and we've gotten up to the destruction of Babylon in Sodot, or Revelation chapter 18. And this imagery here is as if Babylon becomes a type of Gehenna, Sheol, whatever it is that we understand is a dwelling place of demons, of the dragon, of any unclean animal. And it points back here. So I kind of understand Babylon to be Jerusalem because that's where all the prophets are, but also to note that these Romes that are set up, they were, I think, understood to be like New Jerusalems, that type of symbology. So it's like the mother city, and I'm not saying it has to be like exact Jerusalem, though I think that is like the mother of all these other Romes too. So there could even be like multiple places. But how she can be both a desolation is the harlot part never becomes inhabited again, like never rises back up. So there's like this false mountain, you could say, on Jerusalem. That's the harlot part. And he's dealing with this because there's also the pure virgin part that he's restoring it to. So it's understood that like right outside of Jerusalem is the valley of Gehenna to the south, and that this great city splits into thirds. So you can look down and probably see these people because of the presence of the Lamb. So if they're ruling from Jerusalem, then you can look down and see people being tormented during the 1,000 years. But yet the devil is in a place that is sealed. So I don't think you'd see the dragon being tormented, but everybody else that worshipped the dragon, took the mark of the beast. So right now we're looking at if Babylon, the harlot aspect, becomes this Gehenna. So it can at the same time be this place that is ruled from Jerusalem, but the harlot aspect, if the ground opens its mouth and you see this place of suffering below, then this could be this perpetual place for demons and all unclean beings to go to. So, like the imagery of sleeping a perpetual feast after these lions, whelps, they all drink of her wine, get drunk, and then sleep a perpetual sleep and never wake up. So the unclean birds and unclean creeping things seems to refer to all those who are of this kingdom of the eagle, of the dragon, of the beast. And they are all Satan's, as if all the light that is in them is taken from them. So they're just like dark beings who are now also accusers, like their father. So they all have drunk of her wine, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. So we add another place where these spirits go to. We don't know if it's one of these yet. So Babylon becomes a place for those who are fornicate with this harlot to go to. So she's stripped completely, and she could become a place of perpetual burning. It doesn't say, so it does have this imagery of burning with fire and a place of destruction, of desolation. Interesting to note that Sinai also gets renamed to like the place that was burned. The wilderness of sin can mean thorn or clay, and Sinai, similar, can mean thorny. So combining this with Horeb, desert or waste, or coming from the word that means destroyed, desolate, slain, be in ruins, um, it makes me think of for Azazel that he was to be cast in a place that was jagged rock, so like thorny, cast there, and all blame placed on him. And the tie-in with Sinai would be that Torah is taken from the angels and then given to children of Israel instead. So they're going here. It should have been up to these angels to come down and spread like Torah teachings. And so it says for Jerusalem that Torah will go out from Jerusalem, but also like the harlot part could become this waste, burning desolation. So it says that they'll make a desolation of her, and she becomes this place that's burning. With the second trumpet, there's this mountain burning with fire that falls into the sea, and then there is the scarlet worm that falls on the wells of water. So there could be these two aspects too. So the heavenly one could have fallen into the sea, as far as this head of the beast goes into the deep. But also, this harlot part of Jerusalem could sink if the abyss is underneath Jerusalem. So it's like the earth opens up its mouth to help the woman swallows the flood that the dragon spews after her. And also with the earthquake, it splits into thirds. So it could just like swallow up all these people, and then he has to pull out like Daniel in the lion's den, or Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire, pull them out in between the sixth and the seventh bowls. So here it could be a picture of the earth swallowing, like those who in Moses' time questioned him, and it swallows them and their families, where it goes into the earth to this abyss. Here we have more indication that this is a location of one of these abysses. Not only does it sink down and is cast like a giant millstone into the sea, which could be a synonym for the deep, also her smoke goes up from generation to generation. So we have all these descriptions of Babylon. Here we have an additional understanding of where the corpse is, there the eagle will gather, because it seems that this woman is given two wings of a great eagle. So she is taking the place of this entire kingdom of the eagle, them being cast out, these scorpions and such. And so as part of this, she is eating the flesh of those who ate the flesh of Babylon, who drank the blood of Messiah. So, like, their life force is depleted from them, like, their nephesh is squeezed out of them, and like this talent, this light that is in any of these where the light was kind of sustaining them, the soul that God gives them is taken from them and then becomes part of the virgin, because those who have, to them more will be given. So that's how I understand the parable of the talents, where you can take on the souls, like whatever light was in people who didn't do anything with what God gave them, didn't improve on it, that can be kind of absorbed into somebody who was faithful with what they were given. So those who don't have, even what they have is taken from them, and then those who are especially faithful with what they have, ruler over much. So it's all about, like in the world to come, the souls, not the material kinds of things. So I think this could be this kind of imagery here. So the birds eat everyone except for the beast, the animal, and the false prophet. The animals of the field, this is probably more like the nations surrounding eat of their flesh. And these are kind of like the leader, the more, so these are like, I don't know, because they're all going to be kind of unclean, but for some reason the birds eat all these mighty warriors, horses, those who ride on them, small ones, great ones, slaves, freed ones, everybody except for the beast and the false prophet. These, the animals of the field, eat their flesh instead. And so they get cast into Sheol, which burns with sulfur. And I don't think this is a clear enough connection to our note that we made, of those who take the mark or worship the image. They get punished with fire and brimstone. It doesn't say a place burning with sulfur to be able to say this is the same place. It might just be different layers of Sheol. So one of the layers could be potentially Gehenna. It actually doesn't say that the beast or the false prophet are killed. They're captured. So correction here, the others who were killed by the sword, the animals of the field, were satisfied with their flesh. So he's calling all the birds, but also the animals of the field join in with this feast. So Sheol, then, you wonder if, like, those who are here now are killed at all. Maybe the beast and the false prophet can't be killed. They're just captured and cast into this place of burning sulfur. Right after it says that the beast and the false prophet are cast into Sheol, then it says that a messenger from the heavens, here it's saying descending from the heavens instead of a star falling from the heavens. It is the correct words in the Hebrew, two different words. So it's indicating two different beings who had these keys. And so in his hand is a great chain, and he took the dragon, who is identified to be Hasatan, and binds him for 1,000 years. He casts him into the deep, and he is shut in and sealed from above. So he is not able from there, telepathically or however, to seduce the nations until those 1,000 years are completed. So we know that the deep is going to be where Satan is bound, whereas the beast and the false prophet are in Sheol. And so he's bound with a chain and sealed in this location. So I don't think anybody is going to have any interaction even to be able to see him in this place. We can add to our note regarding those who do take the sign of the animal and do pray to him or his image, that they are dead for 1,000 years. So even though it says from age to age, we understand that it's 1,000 years and then they resurrect in order to face that final judgment. And then, so it's talking about the first resurrection, so you don't have any power. The last death doesn't have any power over you. And then Hasatan will be delivered from his captivity. He will go to deceive the nations. And after that, when fire comes down from heaven and burns them up, he's cast into the fire of Ha-Sheol. I don't know if there's any difference here, like this is a specific Sheol. There could be multiple Sheols, because here it says the Sheol, but it's specifically the place where the animal and the false prophet are. So it doesn't ever say that the animal and the false prophet are let out, just the dragon, and they will be afflicted day and night from everlasting until everlasting. Now, in this time of judgment, where they're standing before the throne, everybody, all the dead ones, are judged. So we have three places that have the dead. We have the sea, and death, and Ha-Sheol. And so these are all judged, each according to their deeds. So Sheol, as I understand it, is a place of asking. Hinnom, the valley of Hinnom, is a place of weeping, of lamentation. So there's two different aspects here. So death and Gehenna are cast into fire. And we'd understand in the world to come that there's no more death and no more weeping. But there could still be asking, and there may still be some place of deep, like if this is synonymous, deep places, mysterious, there may be a little bit of this aspect. So even if these are a same place, then you at least don't have weeping. He wipes away all tears. But you may still have just like a place where Sheol should have originally been a place of supplication, of cleansing of your soul. So it's like a place of prayer. Anytime you're supplicating, it's like you're in Sheol, you're afflicting yourself a little bit to put aside everything else and supplicate, to seek God. Death may be a place of wandering, of being cut off from God, like how Cain went to the land of Nod, this place of wandering. So the dead who are here at this place of death, it could be like more on the earth where they're just kind of lost souls who are wandering, and this gets cast into fire, and it is the last death. So this last death, what I understand what gets cast in here is your body, and what has been separating us from God is this body of flesh. So to say that there's no more like fleshliness to cut us off from God anymore, which would be this place of wandering. So there'd be, we're all always in God's presence. Maybe how, because death can be more spiritual too, so there's no more death spiritually as well. So you'd say that there's no more error. So anyone who's not found, he gets cast into the fire as well. And the way I understand this is with this second death, it's your body that gets cast in, like anything that was contrary to God gets cast in, and whatever light you had, this flesh got eaten, got absorbed by the life of the field and by the birds of the air. as I understand it. So death and Gehenna cast into this fire as if they're also dying. In his footnote here, he's putting this in understood to be gapping. For the first heavens and earth had perished, and also the sea was no more. But in Hebrew, they sometimes don't repeat words, so it's understood as gapping. So there could still be a sea slash deep, but the first has sunk. So when we look at the Hebrew here, he's seeing heaven new and ground, Adam, but location of Adam or Adamah, the ground, it doesn't say earth. So the ground is new, and maybe this is what the earth was originally, because this word for earth, the old earth, is similar to broken pieces of pottery. So now she is like this correct mankind kind of thing, Adamah, and not this broken pottery. What happened to the first here is it drowned and existed no, not there is. So none of these were the words. It's this word that means drowned. So do good souls go to Sheol, or this place of death, or the sea? And I think we would say that not everybody in this judgment gets cast into the fire, that there could be some that do have their name written in the book of life, because it doesn't say everybody. So then we can understand that his people, some of them were found in this place called Babylon, and the souls of martyrs go under the temple, but there also may have been good souls here with death and with Sheol and in the sea, because there's only these three places where you find the dead at this point. Understanding that Hinnom is a place of supplication, of weeping, of lamentation, then it's as if he's repeating and confirming that Gehinnom has suffered this second death. The trash has been taken out, and because this was a place where the trash was taken to, where idolatry took place. So this place no longer existing, that this place of weeping and supplication, he's wiped off the tears from all faces, and also repeating that death, since it has suffered the second death, there is no more death. That's what that means, to suffer the second death. It doesn't exist anymore, or any suffering or outcries or affliction. So all these places of suffering, outcry, affliction, and this might tie in with Sheol. It'll be interesting to see what this word is over here. So it seems like this God is a consuming fire. That means like it's literally like all this dross is just sunk, gone, and consumed. So these places of suffering, affliction, they don't exist anymore. So not the word for outcries, but the word for affliction has like a reference meaning to Sheol. Ana can be like you're poor, you're humbled, you're afflicted, but it's like the place of answering, maybe of being heard, because God looks on the poor and the afflicted. So it's none of these words for affliction, but something more to do with being humble, modest, and meek. So looking at this word, na, afflicted, humble, these things coming from this word to answer, to hear, to testify, to speak. So it does tie in with the meaning of Sheol, here, but it comes from this word, which means to ask, to inquire. So it's a place of seeking after God, of being poor, humble, and destitute. However, to those who do not believe, and to murderers, and to fornicators, and to sorcerers, and to liars, I will give their reward from the fire of Hashiel, which burns with fire and sulfur, and this is the second death. So now we finally clarified everything, because in his translating, he was translating the same word, brimstone and sulfur. It's the same word in the Hebrew. So here, gopher is the word for brimstone, and it's also the word here. It looks like it's in the plural, but here it is for sulfur. So yes, I'm going back to make sure this is not just a different form. It looks exactly the same with gopher wreath, because this one just looked like 3 letters, but in our manuscript it is the same here, fire and sulfur, fire and brimstone. So what have we learned? To note with the deep, the sea, I think that there are 2 aspects where the devil can't be burned or like killed like this. He needs to be bound. So for this aspect, these demons kinds of things, you can't just burn them. It's different. So there could be this heavenly aspect of Babylon where it explained why the beast comes up out of this deep, but then he gets cast into Sheol. So he could be like this spirit of Antichrist, this ancient spirit that's been around like at this time from this other being, like intermarriage of angels or whatever, so more angelic and demonic, that this spirit would be in the deep. So it is possible that this deep kind of has 2 abysses, 2 locations. I think we could say that because there seems to also be 2 Babylons, a heavenly Babylon and an earthly one. So as far as death, though, it makes it clear that death is no more. It gets cast into the fire, and this fire is then called Sheol. So this matches where not just the beast and the false prophet, but all those who worship his image, take his mark, they are also in this place called the Sheol for 1,000 years, and the dragon only comes here after the 1,000 years. So anyone not found in the book of life goes here, and Gehenna also, after the 1,000 years, stops to exist to be cast here into this fire, which is told is Sheol. But it also fits this description of Babylon, like her smoke rises. But we do have 2 descriptions of Babylon, because it says that Babylon will be sink and be cast into the sea like a millstone. So it seems like it already happened with the trumpets, at least the heavenly Babylon. But then there's also this judgment of the earthly Babylon, where the earth opens its mouth, and so beneath this earthly Jerusalem could be this place that is called Sheol. So even though in the Tanakh you don't see Sheol being a place of fire, it could become a place of fire because of all these that are cast in there. Like, they are the ones contributing to all of this heat, their wrath, their anger, their fire. Like, man and woman, without, if you take out Yud Hey, then you just have fire. So that's what they are when you take God out of the picture. So it's like they're just burning themselves up once God retrieves. So this deep, specifically like how Messiah goes to the deep, but he also goes to Sheol. It could be like this angel kind of aspect, because we see specifically the dragon here. This seems to be distinct. It doesn't say the deep gets cast in, or I don't even think the sea gets cast into Sheol. So there's a little difference here where it just says Gehenna and death get cast into Sheol, even though the sea is also a place of the dead. So that's a distinction that is being made there. So if this is for those who drink of the wine of the harlot, but it did say unclean animals, so this could only be, it might be just referring in this instance to like demonic beings, because it was like dragons and things like that. So there does seem to be like 2 distinctions of Babylon. So that's the conclusion there.